Well, hello everyone and happy Friday. Happy Good Friday to everyone who's watching here across the Tennessee Valley. It's the digital host A.J. Wuest here, welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I talk about 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. I say it every day wherever you're watching Before the Four today, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream. Of course, as always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Friday afternoon before we head into Easter weekend. Now, we have some stories to get into, so I say let's start things off. So let's begin in Limestone County, where earlier today we learned that an Elkmont man was arrested after the body of a missing 18-year-old girl was found yesterday. 48's Matthew King with what we know so far.
This man, Jonathan Etter, was arrested this morning, and deputies connected him to the disappearance and death of his 18-year-old girlfriend. Limestone County investigators say they were alerted to this case yesterday when the family of that unidentified woman filed a missing person report. Deputies now tell us they searched all her last known locations, leading them to Etter's home in Elkmont. There they say that body was found for that teenager. Etter has yet to see a bond total, and he's facing an abuse of a corpse charge and drug possession. While that's the only information released by officials as of this noon hour, our news team is pressing for more answers. Be sure to tune in to 48 News this afternoon for the latest details.
And today, 48's Callie Neese is working to learn more about this situation. She'll have more coming up in our evening newscasts. But now let's turn over to this story here. Now, earlier today, we also learned that the Arab man who was a victim of the hatchet attack in Arizona last week has sadly passed away. Jacob Couch's family confirmed that he died yesterday, just hours after a vigil was held for him outside of Banner University Medical Center in Tucson. The family says his heart gave out. The 32-year-old man from Arab had been on life support since he was attacked at a streetcar stop in downtown Tucson. Authorities say 25-year-old Daniel Michael was the man who attacked Jacob. Michael was arrested at his home 3 days after the incident. He was charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault and is being held on a $1 million bond. But now that Couch has died, Michael will likely face a murder charge as well. And 48's Faith Delp will have more on this very sad situation coming up in our evening newscasts. But now let's turn over to the weather. We have 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis. He's here with a preview for your Easter weekend. Brad?
The weekend is here. We start off dry, and guess what? We're going to end the weekend dry, too. We've been watching that chance for showers and storms for late Sunday, but we just took it out of the forecast last night. Model guidance continues to push that towards Monday. Monday's probably going to be one of those days where we're going to see periods of showers and storms. A little hazy out there. We've got a lot of pollen in the air, plus a lot of this is from prescribed burns across the area south of our area. In fact, the Birmingham area, prescribed burns in that part of Alabama. That south wind is bringing that here into North Alabama. It'll filter out the sunshine a little bit for that sunset, bring it some red tint. But overall, we do expect increasing clouds and highs in the 80s right on into the weekend. 84 here just after 3 o'clock in the Shoals. The next 12 hours, 70s this evening with overnight lows in the mid to upper 60s. So feeling a little bit more like early summer out there. This is just beginning. Easter Sunday is going to be a cloudy day. Sunrise at 6:08, 83 to 85 for the high temperatures. So a very warm day. I saw many people out enjoying the pool. A lot of schools out today. And a lot of you will be enjoying the pool or the lake or just spending some time outdoors this weekend. Watch out for the pollen. Tonight, not too bad. In fact, we stay in the 60s all night long. More clouds out there overnight and early tomorrow morning. As we go through the day, you'll notice more cloud cover, but it's still going to be warm out there with temperatures near 80 degrees already by the 1 o'clock hour, and we will top out in the low to mid 80s both days this weekend. A good supply of sunshine out there. So overall, good weather to spend with family and friends. Here's your 3-day forecast. Notice 77 Monday, and that's all because of showers and thunderstorms. Some of those could be strong, but we're really not looking at any threat for severe weather. I've got the next forecast at 4, 5, 6, and 10.
Well, sounds like a good weekend. I know a lot of stuff is going on. Crawfish Festival, Slaw Burger Festival, a lot of good outdoor activities. Of course, the Mustang Mud Run. We'll talk about all that later on in the stream. But now, turning over to a story in case you missed it, out of Jackson County. Authorities are still on the hunt this afternoon for a kidnapping suspect after an 11-year-old boy was abducted at gunpoint from their front yard on Wednesday. 48 Savannah Sapp with the latest we know.
Well, Jackson County Sheriff Rocky Harnan says investigators are looking for any leads after an 11-year-old boy was abducted from his own front yard at gunpoint Wednesday morning. Harnan says though this type of crime is rare for the community of Flat Rock, it will not be tolerated. Harnan says early Wednesday morning that 11-year-old boy was walking the family dog when he noticed a stranger attempting to break into a car in the driveway. When that suspect saw the child, he turned, pointed a firearm at him, and forced him into his own vehicle parked nearby. Harnan says that suspect took off with the boy, only to punch him and throw him out of the vehicle about a mile down the road. He also dumped a stolen firearm he had previously gotten from the vehicle in the driveway. That child was able to run back home and call for help. Harnan says investigators are now searching for a black single cab truck seen in the Flat Rock community. He says this man made the wrong choice when he put a child in harm's way.
I understand being hooked on drugs, and I understand him trying to steal stuff, but he took it a step too far, and this is pretty serious when you pull a gun on an 11-year-old or on anybody and take them hostage for a short time, and I'm sure that child will be scarred for the rest of his life.
Again, Sheriff Harnan says investigators are keeping an eye out for a black single cab truck, possibly a Ford Ranger, and that truck was driven by a taller man with a slender build wearing a mask. He's asking anyone with any information to contact investigators here at the Sheriff's Office. Reporting in Scottsboro, I'm Savannah Sapp, 48 News, on your side.
And of course, we'll update you with the latest information as we continue to learn more on that situation. But now, if you're looking to upgrade or trade in your car for something newer, you might want to act fast because in about 5 to 6 months, you could be paying thousands of extra dollars out of pocket for them. 48's Nick Ballinger recently spoke with a local car dealer here in the Tennessee Valley. Take a look.
Take a good look at those neon numbers next time you drive by a dealership because soon they may look less appealing. President Donald Trump has already slapped a 125% tariff on all Chinese imports. And with other countries' tariffs only on a 90-day pause, car dealers across the valley are asking one thing.
What is that going to do to our car prices?
Greg Anthony is the general manager of North Country Ford in Arab. He says his customers are already acting fast.
You know, I'm not calling it panic mode, but people is recognizing, hey, we need to do something now.
Just because the names on the sign scream Made in America doesn't mean buyers are in the clear.
We keep telling all of our friends and family, buy them now. Even though we're made in America, these cars are assembled in America. A lot of the parts is built somewhere else, and they're going to have tariffs on them.
Take this 2025 Ford Bronco, for example. Right now, sitting on the lot, this car would cost you around $37,000. But Anthony tells me if he orders this same car and puts it on his lot in around 6 to 8 months, you could be paying an extra $5,000. Anthony says Ford acted fast.
Ford immediately come out and said, hey, we're built in America and we're for America, and we're going to do employee pricing.
He says foreign car dealerships may not be as fortunate. When the tariffs were announced, he bought an extra 300 pre-owned foreign cars. He says others are following suit.
So we're buying up all the Toyota Camrys, but right now when I go to the auction, normally I buy 20 in a day. Now I'm lucky if I buy 2.
Which means on the bright side, the aging car sitting in your driveway could be an unexpected payday.
Well, we can look at it one of two ways. You can say, well, we got to spend more to get that used car, but now your trade-in is going to be worth that much more as well.
And now turning over to Limestone County, the man who survived a deadly fire earlier this week on Elk River Mills Road is speaking out after the loss of his brother and caretaker. 48's Callie Neese with an exclusive interview with him. Take a look.
James Morgan is still in the hospital recovering from his injuries. He told me that he is suffering from burns on his lungs and smoke inhalation.
That's my brother and me was the only person that they had each other.
Officials say the fire broke out around midnight on Elk River Mills Road. James told me the fire broke out fast, but he was able to get out. His brother Raymond was stuck inside.
I went in the house, tried to go in the house. When I did, the smoke covered my lungs real quick. But I went in there twice to take my brother out.
Unfortunately, the fire did take Raymond's life. A family friend told me that Raymond was James's caretaker. He did everything for him. She told me due to his disabilities, he cannot drive or be alone. James says it was an electrical fire, but state fire marshals cannot confirm that at this time. Now James says he has nowhere to go and doesn't know what he'll do after he gets out of the hospital.
I just need to try to find a place to stay, but I don't have anywhere to go.
Officials from the state fire marshal's office say this fire is still under investigation. Reporting in Limestone County, Callie Neese, 48 News, on your side.
Well, business leaders are always looking for faster, more effective, and cheaper ways to help their customers. And that was the driving force for one local defense contractor when it designed a virtual reality tool for the military, only to further realize that blueprint could be applied to medicine as well. The result, a mixed reality tutorial that's transforming how the entire Huntsville hospital system trains newly hired nurses. 48's Liz Hurley reports.
A THAAD missile unit is massive and costs up to $2 billion, not counting the cost of training the soldiers to operate it.
Instructors tailor and adapt their training approach for specific individual needs.
So Torch Technologies in Huntsville developed a fast, cost-effective, and intrinsically basic training tool using virtual reality. A gaming system with off-the-shelf headsets and lifelike software creating THAAD's digital twin.
Put your hand up to him like you're telling somebody to stop.
It doesn't work. Torch then moved this 3D VR training tool from the battlefield to the healthcare field and calls the company and software Symvana. First targeting and training nurse anesthetists, simulating the procedure without putting real patients at risk.
But it's a cheap way to train people all over the world, no matter where you're at.
And now the entire Huntsville hospital system sends all its newly hired nurses and techs to Symvana Boot Camp. They slip on a headset and step right inside a hospital room before they ever meet a real patient.
This is a much more engaging way to learn. I can take my time with it. It's very different than anything we've seen anywhere else, and it translates so well to the real world scenarios.
Spalding says it beats lecturing, and it's a practical approach to mass orientation. Plus, it's much cheaper. A real hospital bed needed for training costs $13,000. A bladder scanner, $11,000.
Versus in the VR environment, that headset is about $700. So we can buy many headsets instead of just one bladder scanner.
And it's a paradigm shift for struggling rural hospitals, limited by time and trainers.
And we, at this point, have delivered around 10 different scenarios, which are training nurses on patient safety, room safety, and we're even taking AI and integrating that now to where we're focusing on combative patients and suicide prevention.
Which ER nurse LP Parker says will be a game changer.
You know, it's not if, but it's when you're going to come across these things. It'd be nice to know that have some training ahead of time that can really set you up for success.
And those on the ER's trauma side can't wait for Symvana's upcoming team training. Anything to anticipate the organized chaos.
Absolutely. You kind of have to be able to read each other's minds. And to be able to do that and train in that without a real patient will give us the ability to take our care to the next level.
Pretty cool stuff there. And now coming up after the break, we'll talk about a dog here in Alabama saved inside a burning home. Fun things you can do this weekend here in the Tennessee Valley, and you're just not going to want to miss it. The good side. It's all ahead. I'll be right back in 1 minute. All right, the clock has now ticked down. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Before the Four. Now, a family dog was trapped inside a burning home filled with a black smoke in Mobile, Alabama, but the dog survived thanks to the quick work of Mobile Fire Rescue and a neighbor who followed her instincts and called 911. Darwin Singleton has this story.
A Mobile firefighter rushes to load an injured dog struggling to breathe into a waiting car. But just moments earlier, the picture looked far more bleak, with fire medics pumping oxygen into the black lab in an effort to revive it. It was a life and death drama that was playing out only a few yards away from this house in the Jackson Heights subdivision, a one-story home that had caught fire with that dog, Miss Greta J., locked inside. That is, until this neighbor was driving by on her way to pick up her kids from school and noticed smoke. Her instincts told her to check it out, so she pulled into the driveway.
And I noticed no cars were there, and then that's when I noticed the back kitchen window was black.
And then she heard something. It sounded like a dog or some children. She knew both lived there.
I started beating on the windows because I heard like a whining or yelling. They have 3 small children, so as a mom, my first instinct was the kids are in there, and I called 911 and grabbed the water hose and kicked as hard as I could to get that door open, and the smoke just came billowing out. I couldn't get in. It was just too much.
Soon the neighbor was joined by an AT&T employee who happened to be in the neighborhood, who trained a hose on the door as she yelled the dog's name. By then, the fire department arrived.
Be advised, there's supposed to be a black lab in there. Y'all get somebody doing a primary.
And initially they could not find anybody or the dog, and I told them, I was like, her name's Greta, she's black, like, you may not see her. And he said he was just feeling around and he felt something, and he picked her up, and when she came out, she was unresponsive.
And that's when fire medics went to work, feeding Greta oxygen in an effort to clear her lungs. The woman stayed by the dog's side, hoping and praying the efforts would pay off. More than 10 minutes would pass, and then a wag, and then another. Greta's eyes became more fixed. And when her owner arrived, that familiar voice and caress gave Greta the encouragement she needed.
The minute she took a deep breath, like, I just cried in relief. Like, I just couldn't imagine losing my animal. It's just like family. So I thank God for the fire department getting here in time.
Certainly a scary situation indeed, but I am glad the dog survived and he is wagging his tail today. There's no doubt about it. Well, now let's take a look at some fun things you can do here in the Tennessee Valley this weekend. At Madison Academy, the Mustang Mud Run is happening tomorrow morning, an awesome annual event for team building and bonding. Proceeds for the event help raise money for the Madison Academy Theater Department, and there'll be obstacle courses and heats at the race dedicated to William Tex Bailey, a Madison Academy graduate who sadly passed away back in November. Bailey was a light in the Madison community and would always help out and compete in the mud run each year. Now, earlier this week, I spoke with Terry Spear about the event. Take a listen.
We have a wonderful group of people who come to do our event. It is so much fun. Like, we'll have people from really all surrounding states of Alabama who come. And we have repeaters who come every single year. So when I'm out on the course on that day, it's amazing because I can spot the ones who have come back year after year after year from either, whereas as young as 10 years old all the way up to like 80 years old. Like, we have quite the age range on it. And it's nice to be able to, like, man, we're so glad to see you back. And they're like, oh, we're so glad that you're doing it one more year. So it's really a nice community feel to it. We really enjoy that aspect of it.
Yes. Yeah, and after that, you might have worked up an appetite competing in that mud run, and if so, well then Fayetteville, Tennessee is your place. They're holding their annual Slawburger Festival tomorrow in downtown Fayetteville. My fellow digital host Tatiana White spoke with Amy Bird about that awesome and delicious event. Take a listen.
For those who don't know, Amy, what is a Slawburger and how did it become such a staple in Fayetteville?
Right, so a Slawburger is an all beef patty with a mustard based yellow slaw on the burger. It's sweet and tangy, and it's not your, standard mayonnaise-based coleslaw. And it started in Fayetteville around over 100 years ago, 1923. And right here on our square, except everybody in town, there's always the debate who had the first slaw burger. So there are several restaurants in town who serve it, but the festival was born in 2015 because, anybody can throw a festival, but you want to revolve it around something that is unique to your town. And this is definitely unique to Fayetteville.
Yes, and I don't know if you all remember, but last year when I interviewed Amy around this time last year, I made a verbal commitment that I would be participating in the slaw burger eating contest. And right when Tatiana was getting set up with Miss Amy there, I reminded Amy of that verbal commitment, and sure enough, I will be competing this Saturday in the slaw burger eating contest. I'm a little nervous. She said the winner last year ate 14, so I am shooting to eat 15 this year. But yes, you can catch me in Fayetteville, Tennessee tomorrow eating some slaw burgers. Yeah, I might regret that decision, but you got to go for the win. But maybe you're not a fan of slaw burgers and you want to eat some seafood. Well, the Crawfish Festival is coming to the camp in Huntsville this weekend. Everything from live music to awesome vendors, and let's not forget, more crawfish than you can stomach. This week, Tatiana also spoke with Jamie Minoz and Cody Morgan about the annual fest. Check it out.
So each year we've grown, and we have these custom pots that are built in New Orleans. Awesome. And they each hold probably around 400 to 500 pounds on each boil that we do. So we'll start around 6 a.m. boiling crawfish, and it's an all-day affair. Just feed them boys beer. They're fun. They're good.
Yeah, we bring in the professionals, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh, that's like dedication, having to get up that early and just keep going. So
we learned the hard way that we need to be a couple boils in by the time we open the gates. So we've learned every year.
Yes. And can you guys walk us through the food options for attendees, especially like the all-you-can-eat wristbands? How does that whole thing work?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two options for tickets. One is an all-you-can-eat price. The other one is just general admission. With the general admission, you will have access to buy a box of crawfish. We sell boxes of crawfish. It's about 2 pounds for $25. That will come with 1 piece of corn and a couple of potatoes. We will also have a couple of food trucks for our non-crawfish eaters who just want to come out and enjoy the beautiful day and the great music. So we will have our camp food truck open, as well as Tamarind Island Grill, who's amazing and always at the camp. And we'll also have some snack vendors like Happy Pappy, Hustle and Pop, Nanny's Lemonade. So we'll also be having a couple of, fun trucks as well.
Yes, that sounds good.
yes, we're excited. We're ready.
And it certainly looks good as well. I've never had a crawfish before. They kind of freak me out a little bit. It's just that bug, that cockroach look to them, but I hear they're really good. And I'm going to have to try them pretty soon because they did look good, as you saw in that video there. But you can find all those full 48 Now interviews along with more details right now on our website. Just go to WAFF.com. You'll go to digital shows and then finally 48 Now. And also make sure to stay tuned this weekend for my fellow digital host Tatiana White as she gives a recap of this week's top stories. Again, that's tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon. You're just not going to want to miss it. But now today on the good side. An older brother going to cheer for his younger brother at a college baseball game may not sound like news, but maybe not until you learn that's where they met for the very first time. Local News Live's Brittany Crittenden shows us them both, and they both believe it was a divine intervention. Take a look.
It's an embrace that's 22 years overdue.
It was just a bittersweet moment, you know. It's just a blessing to be able to have things like that come about. only God can make that happen.
Kendall Durrett says this moment happened on God's timeline. His newly found younger brother, Ian Montz, couldn't agree more.
It's been a blessing, man. I couldn't be more grateful for just God just guiding me to this position in my life, and it's been a blessing. So
Now, it's easy to see the two are related.
We got the same cheekbones. He's 6'3", though. I'm 5'10", so he's a lot taller than me.
But Kendall only found out Ian existed about a year ago. Then last month, Ian returned his friend request on Facebook after he started searching for his dad through Ancestry.com.
go for it, you know what I'm saying? You only get one life.
After getting the notification he'd been waiting for, Kendall made the next step toward making up for decades of lost time.
I kind of showed my wife, I was like, babe, like, look, you know, and I just DM'd him. You know, I'm kind of a guy that, you know, time is too short, you know, so I'm going to take advantage of the time.
And the two took no time to schedule their first meeting, even living states apart. Kendall was born and raised in Levelland, where he now coaches the boys' basketball team. Ian is from Louisiana, where he now plays college baseball. So when Kendall got the invitation to come to Ian's game in Hobbs, he couldn't turn it down.
He seen us walking in, and, you know, he had a big smile on his face, and he was just warming up, you know, casual, and, you know, I was just trying to be a big brother and support him and, you know, root him on from the stands, hoping that he could hear me.
Ian also had a younger cheerleader in the stands, his new nephew. With plans to see each other again, the divine intervention is already making a generational impact.
Or my son, he was saying, when are we going to go watch Unc play again? And he reposted on his Snapchat saying, you know, Unc's going to get him right this summer. So, you know, I'm just excited for him to be around his nephews and, you know, just get to learn more about him and to see, you know, how we resemble each other. And I think it's pretty awesome.
The coach is excited for a summer break with his brother. After all, he's got 22 seasons to catch up on. Brittany Crittenden, KCBD News Channel 11.
Such an awesome story there. And y'all, that is just about all the time I have for today's Before the Four. Didn't quite get into the stories you're just not going to want to miss or Facebook fun quite yet, but you're just not going to want to miss the entire newscast, evening newscast. That is what you're just not going to want to miss. But I hope you all have a happy Easter weekend. Go hunt some eggs, go eat some peeps, go do all that amazing stuff. And I will see you guys back here on Monday at 3:30. I hope you all have a great weekend once again, and thank you so much for watching.